The only alternative is, of course, staying in the stock market, which, a lot of people are. But the other alternative in real estate is simply to do it yourself. And a lot of people try to do it themselves. They buy a rental or they start flipping houses, and then they realize it's a lot of work. And at the end of the day, they don't really make a lot of money, and it's a lot of work. And so they scratch their head going, how in the world can I get into real estate without all this work and all this headache? And the answer is, well, shoot, invest with me because I already have the team. I'm investing in building a team. It's hard to do. Let me do the hard work, and then you can basically just invest with me.
One of the things I tell some of our investors, whether you're a doctor, a lawyer, or whatever your entrepreneurial spirit is in your line of work, keep doing what you're doing that was successful for you in the first place and allowed you to make a lot of money. And if you want to be in real estate, passively invest that with us. Don't go recreate the wheel and try to do it yourself.
I want to talk to you as we wind things down. I want to talk about working with an experienced person like you guys versus doing it yourself. Because I see this all the time. People, I see two kinds of people. One, they want to get into multifamily, but they just don't believe it's possible, right? It's too complicated. They have a lot of limiting beliefs around getting. But then I see the other kind of person who basically just tries to do it themselves. And I was one of those people. I did it myself. And as a result, it took a long time. I made a lot of mistakes, and I just was unable to scale very, very much in the beginning. But if you look online about all these things about, hey, should I get a mentor of some sort? And there's pretty much a mixed bag. But a lot of people have the mindset, no, you don't need to work with someone experienced, especially if it costs money. And I think in a lot of cases that's true. But the question is, why should someone invest in themselves to work with one of you guys, or even align yourself with a very experienced person? What difference does it make? And who is that for, and maybe who is it not for?
Yeah, I'll take that one. So, I think that one of the most important things is that you're going into this with the mindset that like you're doing the work on this, right? When you join a mentorship program, when you join our mentorship program, we're not handing you a deal. We're not handing you the money. We're here to guide you and help you along the way. And so I think it's a great fit for someone who's motivated. They're committed to the outcome, no matter how long it takes. They're willing to put in the effort, and they want someone that's going to help them, right? To help them avoid those train wrecks, to help them to make decisions more quickly and clearly that let them get to the goal faster and avoid a lot of the mistakes that many of us have made and we're openly willing to share with them. And so if that fits someone that's listening to this, it's probably a great fit, right? Whereas if it's someone who they think it's just going to happen, it's probably not a great fit. That'd be kind of my quick summary.
Yeah, my point of view, I think the more I age, the more I realize the value of mentors. And even now, it's like, I'm a mentor on some sides of what I can teach others, but at the same time, I still have other mentors, whether it's formal or informal, because relationships I built in the past, and it's so valuable, it's like bouncing ideas to with more experienced people, to avoid mistakes. I mean, that's it. But I think the key for the success when you use a mentor, you need to understand that, and you need to be ready, because actually it was I remember in the Dealmaker Mastermind, the community of your students, Michael, somebody posted something recently, and he was talking about that he was all in, right? And he decided, and he did that and that, and this, he said like, oh, now I'm all in. I'm going to do this very seriously, and so on. And I think that it's what we spoke about like during this session, this podcast, is really like, in order to be successful, you have to be all in, right? I mean, and it's hard. People have W-2s, they're doing that in the evening on the lunch break or whatever. But if you don't go all in 100%, and then do all the things that are required, talk to the brokers, talk to the investors and so on, and then really come prepared to the meetings with us, the mentors. Come with your questions, and you have to think about that like almost 24/7, right? It has to be in the back of your mind, and you have ideas coming up. So, oh, what about this? What about that? Then bring all the questions. We can talk about that during our sessions. But if you don't have that mindset to be all in, it's not going to work. You cannot come and Jonathan said, we're not going to fish the fish for you. We're teaching you how to fish.
Barry, any
Yeah.
thoughts from you? Oh, Paula.
Yeah, no, all great points. Trying to think why. I mean, you touched on Philippe, having somebody to bounce ideas off of. Just, hey, what do you think about this? Right? Double check your work. And one of the biggest things I honestly think is being able to share the mistakes that we've made. We've made plenty of mistakes when it comes to underwriting, how we operate something, how we position some, how we approached renovating a property. Little things like we implemented rubs in one of our buildings, and it was a very price sensitive tenant base, and we created not a financial disaster for ourselves, but it was a challenge for many years because every unit that turned over required a full gut rehab. So when we implemented rubs, we created a monster wave of turnover for ourselves and the cash outlay that had to happen because of that. So you tell me, like, little things like that. Be sensitive when you start to implement different programs when it comes to operating a property and how you approach things. And
I think to me, the value of mentorship is onefold. One is to avoid the big mistakes. I think we talked about that. And the other one to me is scale faster. And I'm a little bit like Philippe. I have come 180 on this topic of mentorship because my first deal, I did not have a mentor and a lot of things went wrong, but it also was a 12-unit deal. Like the average student for us is a GP, and the average size is a $4 million deal requiring a $1.5 million raise. And it's because when no one comes in going, I'm going to do a $4 million deal, well, maybe a few, but most of them are like, maybe I'll do $1 million deal or whatever. And that's the end of their comfort zone. And then somehow they end up doing a $4 million deal. And if I look back, had I had someone more experienced, they would have said, hey, come on, Michael, you can probably do a little bigger than 12 units. And here's how you do it, right? Here's all these things I never thought about. So now in my business advisory, right, if I'm paying $70,000 a year for someone to advise me in business, and I'm happy to do it as long as I think I can get a 10x return on it. If I want to get a $700,000 return on that business relationship. So Philippe, back to you. When I have that call, and I have like 4 calls a month, every single call is a $2,000 call, right? So if I get there and I was like, hey, dude, what are we going to do today? I'm just blowing $2,000 away, right? So every time I will spend at least an hour preparing for that meeting because it's a $2,000 meeting. If I'm not getting $2,000 worth of value out of that meeting, why am I even here? And I see the students who are successful, that's what they're doing. They're doing the work, they're filling out their tracker, and they're debriefing on things that they're challenged with, right? And so now this is how, in other words, mentorship for me is there so I can scale faster and avoid the big mistakes. If I want to make mistakes, I don't need a mentor. If I don't want to scale faster, I don't need a mentor either. So to me, in my own experience and in my students, that's probably the biggest value add. So those are my thoughts on that. So I just want to wrap things up. So just go around. How can people connect with you? Obviously, the way to connect with you for mentoring is themichaelblanc.com/mentor. You can actually book a call with us, and then and we can talk to you about getting into mentorship, what that entails, and then you can even request to work with one of these mentors if you want by name. So themichaelblanc.com/mentor is the way to go. But each of you also have ongoing syndication operations, and so Philippe, how can people connect with you?
Yeah, so people can go to our website. It's boostmycapital.com/contact. There will be a form for them to fill, and we'll be in touch.
Barry, how about you?
Easy. Email's the best. Barry@newmissioncapital.com.
Awesome. How about Jonathan Paula?
Yeah, you can fill out our contact form on our website, which is Apogee MFC, like multifamilycapital.com, or I'm very active on LinkedIn. You can find me there, Jonathan Nichols.
All right, Apogee is APOGEE. So again, these are ongoing operations. If you're looking for possible ways to invest and engage with those, check them out, and connect with them as well. So I want to thank all of you guys here for being on the show and sharing your huge collective experience.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Michael.
Michael.